Now, a radically changed business environment. That's the standout phrase from the earnings report of the shipping giant Maersk. Operating profit in the last quarter fell by over 2/3, dragged down by falling demand and falling freight rates. The results from the world's second largest shipping line weren't as bad as many expected, but they came with a warning of weaker numbers perhaps to come, and all this at a time when industry capacity is increasing just as demand is changing course. Vincent Clerc is the CEO and he joins us now. So great to have you on the show. A radically different business environment. Just explain, if you can, whether that's specific to your business after, 3 years of booming profitability versus a broader economic slowdown. And welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. No, I think it is really after 3 years of increasing earnings and record earnings, many quarters in a row. This is the normalization that we knew was going to happen at some point, and it unfolds pretty much as we expected, with this quarter being probably a good transition between the numbers we've been used to looking at over the last couple of years into a more normal trending environment that looks a lot more like what we had in 2018 or 19 before the COVID pandemic and its impacts. Now, this means also that we have to handle a whole new set of risks. You talked about some of the uncertainties that there is on the horizon. They will certainly factor in also how the rest of the year shapes up, which is really also what is a foundation for our guidance.
Yeah, I just wondered to what extent contracts that were signed at higher freight rates in particular are still cushioning the business to a certain extent, and when some of those roll off, particularly given the sort of macro backdrop, and as I mentioned in the introduction as well, the increasing supply of capacity across the sector too. We've got more ships coming online in the next, 12 to 24 months.
That's correct. But actually, so far, I would say for throughout 2023, we're seeing a significant caution in our earnings from the contracts that we have had. It played very well for our customers in 21 and 22, and you see a bit the flip side of this right now, where they adjust much slower and provide a caution on earning. There is no doubt that over time, the supply and demand developments with a weak macro background and a lot of new ships coming online is going to require a lot of capacity discipline, a lot of cost discipline in order to handle this in a way that is protecting the earnings that we have and the integrity of the service that we deliver to customers.
I know, and you said it's always going to be a balance between what you achieve on the shipping side versus the logistics business, which you continue to broaden out. I just wanted to ask you about what you're seeing in Hong Kong and China now, because I believe in the mainland you're actually bigger there now than you were pre-pandemic. You were at the development forum in March and you said, look, the dramatic rebound that we were expecting in the region hadn't happened yet. Can I ask you what you're seeing specifically today and whether the catch-up now perhaps has kicked in?
Yeah, so what we are seeing now is a gradual improvement in terms of activities in China to support the consumption rebound over there. If the expectation was of a very swift and sharp rebound following the opening, that was certainly not what we were seeing in March. Instead of this, both in March and in April, and also the lead indicators that we have for the rest of the quarter, point to a gradual increase and normalization of consumption over there. So we're seeing that increase. It's not sharp, but it is coming, and it will continue to gather strength, we expect, in the coming month.
So, and even now, because we're going to talk later on the show about Golden Week and revenge spending that's been seen over the sort of May Day holiday, you're saying that there isn't and there hasn't been this sharp rebound, but it is slowly progressing. So perhaps don't be drawn by 1 week spending is the message.
I think that's what we have seen so far. There is a very important sales day on 6/18 in China, which is relatively soon. That will be a good bellwether for how much of this revenge spending we're going to see here in the year.
Okay, I want to talk about exciting things too. The world's first container vessel sailing on green methanol, which is going to be operating, I believe, in the Baltic Sea this year. Talk me through this, because I've seen some fantastic images. We're showing our viewers them now.
Yeah. This is a real milestone for us, where a lot of the decision and the work that we have made on our energy transition and our journey to net zero is actually really taking a very, very concrete phase with this new ship that is about to join our fleet here over the summer. This over 100 years now of running on diesel or bunker fuel, and now a transition that starts towards methanol and a net zero. It's the first of many, but it's going to be something quite significant, and we're going to do something with it to actually demonstrate and show to both our customers, our public, and also public authorities and so on, that where there is a will, there is a way. And we have taken quite a few risks to have the ships. At the time where we ordered it, the green methanol that we need to power it was not available. And we have worked since then to secure that methanol. And I think that this will really be a first very important step on our transition, and a clear also leading example for what the industry can do when it puts its mind to it.
Yeah, to your point, these kind of risks are easier to take when profitability's high and the business is booming. The challenge comes when things are slightly slower. What's the cost difference? Because we know the cost of this has to come down to make it more broadly viable. But what's the cost difference annually of running one of these versus traditional container ships today?
The cost of the vessel in principle is pretty much the same whether it runs on green methanol or it runs on bunker. It's a different engine, but it is pretty much the same. What we have done with this ship, because of the uncertainty of having sufficient methanol to run all of the orders that we have made, is we take them with dual propulsion, so an engine that can do both traditional fuel and green methanol. The intention being that if methanol is available, this is what they will run on. And that has a premium on the price of about 8 to 10% in order to take that insurance premium on the availability of the fuel. Then there is the price of the fuel. And this is something that is evolving very, very fast, because there is no market for that fuel today. There is no facilities at scale to produce that fuel today. We've been able to secure quite a bit of the capacity that is going to come online this year, next year, and the following years. And there we're seeing some price differentials that vary a little bit from project to project, but that are still within the willingness to pay that we're seeing from our customers to help us through the transition here. And then I also want to just mention the IRA in the US as being a real accelerator for the development of the capacity of fuel. Because ordering the ship is actually relatively easy from a technology and from a CapEx perspective, but having the fuel available requires the mobilization of a whole industry. And that is what we're starting to see happen now in the US following the implementation of the IRA.
Yes, well done, America. Come on, Europe. Are you daunted, by the way? Because you've just taken over as the CEO. You've got this sort of transition on the energy front and the operations for what container shipping looks like in the future as it transitions to more green. Plus, as you've said, a sort of new dawn and a more challenging, certainly more challenging macro environment. Are you daunted?
No, I'm actually quite excited. We have a fantastic opportunity. We have a strategy today that really sets on to address some of the big problems we have seen our customers have here over the last 2 years. A too fragmented supply chain with insufficient visibility, insufficient control, a supply chain that is not sustainable from an emission perspective. Our strategy is about solving these problems. That is actually, there are risks, as we just discussed, but it's more importantly a fantastic opportunity for us to make a difference and to create growth opportunity for the company and really also for our customers. So yes, there is a lot of challenges right now, but all of them can be actually turned into opportunities. And even if some of the quarters will probably be bumpy, I think we have a really good road ahead.
Yeah, you're ready for action. Good answer. It's so great to chat to you. Look forward to speaking next quarter. There you go. There's your smile. Thank you. Great to chat to you, sir. Thank you. The Maersk CEO there. Okay.